Welcome to Whistleblowers in partnership with Wix Trade Pro. Coming up, it's like splitting up from a girlfriend, right? And she ends it, and there's suspicion of crossover, right? The timing for me with the areola thing looks bad.
I like to make just things like wild accusations. Me as well. I think Barca bought Gordon because of Bayern's interest. Let's say Bayern Munich try and take Rashford on loan. There's a little wild one for him.
Do you think Arsenal will be back in the Champions League final next season?
No.
Welcome to Whistleblowers with three men who better be called Delay Repay would be in a more appropriate title, I think. Between us, spend most of our lives on the railways. Ian Ladyman, first of all, hello.
Hello.
You've spent a bit of time travelling this week, haven't you?
Yeah, Budapest at the weekend for the Champions League final. And then here this morning on a perfectly timed 6:24 from Stockport.
Good effort.
Yeah.
You were perfectly timed.
And there he is, Mark Clattenburg. Where have you been this week?
I've been back in the UK.
Yes.
Practicing my golf.
On your simulator.
Correct. Which wasn't very successful.
No.
Then I went to Manchester for a meeting about my bonnet. And then I decided to come through York Station today, which was like a car park of trains because there was a defect track.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of animated and upset people when the train got terminated at Peterborough.
Did it help that you were dressed like an England football hooligan?
No, I wasn't, because I covered this up.
Plastic furniture at people.
I covered this up because this is now, I can't win. I've never been a person that wears football shirts.
No.
My wife gets the ick.
Yeah.
My daughter says I'm not standing next year if I wear a football shirt.
Right.
So I thought I would do the next best thing and wear something a bit cooler.
It's because there are too many letters in your surname to go in the back of the strip, isn't it? That's
Correct.
why.
It would cost us too much.
I wasn't convinced about the Andy Burnham jogging photograph of a couple of weeks ago, simply because anyone who's ever run anywhere, you don't go running in a football shirt.
You don't
be comfortable at all.
No, I mean the chafed nipple is the jogger's nipple is a danger.
He had his 1980s Hafnia Everton's great kit that.
Good kit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I love. See, I've got a level where I think when you're younger and you want to get the strip with socks and shorts, I've got no issue with kids.
Yeah.
But when I see grown adults on flights going on holiday, it just doesn't.
You must see a lot
right
of it being in the northeast.
Yeah, and it's always the red and whites flying through our international airports.
I'm with you on it though. I think retro football shirts
Get it?
are
Brilliant.
okay.
Yeah,
I get it.
But I'm with you on. But also the thing with the kids, right? It jars with me a little bit when you see kids who, and when I say kids, I mean like 2-year-olds dressed in like a full Liverpool kit or Man United kit. You're thinking, well, you know, that's the parents just kind of
indoctrinating them.
Yeah, because a kid can't make a choice at 2. A kid wears what it's given at 2. That's like you trying to live your life through your, you know, it's not.
I don't want this to be too high,
mannequin.
But would you do the same with baby pink and baby blue?
Would I what?
Gender determination with your. This is not the right podcast for this conversation,
no.
is it? Jeez, come on, rein it back.
I don't know. I didn't think there were any boundaries. I wasn't aware that there were boundaries to this podcast.
Well, I'm putting them up right now.
So no, I don't. What was your question?
I
don't know what you mean.
Can't remember. Well, I was going to say if you from an early age put a child in pink and they're a girl, that means that you're following the traditions of
right.
Yeah, pink and blue and boys and girls.
Yeah.
See,
I'm all right with that.
What? Or you're a Dulwich Hamlet fan?
I'm all right with that.
He's all right with that. Right. You were there, Champions League final. I watched it on the telly for most of it. Got pretty bored, I have to say. Listened to it on the radio, and fair play to John Murray on 5 Live. He made it more interesting listening to it than it was watching it. Cagey, wasn't it? Just cagey.
I think when you're there, I think you can get drawn into the occasion and the atmosphere, both of which were terrific. Great stadium, really brilliant stadium. Killers did the warm-up. You know, I hate warm-ups and all that, but if you're going to have one,
pretty good,
might as well be Brandon Flowers.
Sponsored by Pepsi.
But in terms of the game, if you take all that away, because you don't get that watching on the telly, I can imagine it wouldn't have been very engaging. 2 things. PSG didn't play very well.
No, they didn't.
That was one thing. What they did that really surprised me after Arsenal's goal was that they panicked. PSG panicked when they went behind. And you can tell when a team's panicking because they do all that kind of, you know, when it's a throw-in, sprinting after the ball, and when it's the opposition's throwing, they're getting the ball for them. Type thing that you normally do when you're 1-0 down with 5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
They had 85 minutes plus added time to sort themselves out, and they didn't play like it. it took them until the 44th minute to have a shot on target. So that was one thing, and then that played right into Arsenal's hands. It meant that Arsenal could play the way they wanted to play. And look, for the neutrals, it was just as well that PSG got the equaliser, and that then made it a slightly more open game.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on it, Mark?
I understood what you've just said about PSG. I thought, I'm not saying they were a little bit, not rushed. I wouldn't say rushed, but they were uneasy.
Was that because of Arsenal, though?
I thought Arsenal were terrific to make it, to try and win the game. I think if they went, and I said this, if they went toe-to-toe with PSG, they would get beat. And I thought Arsenal did extremely well, because basically it was a free hit. After winning the Premier League, I felt it was a free hit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To win this. And they went toe-to-toe with PSG, and there's not many English teams have done that this season, and other teams this season, and they've took them to penalty kicks. And they were well organised, very well organised, which means PSG couldn't get in till 70-something minutes? And then
it opened up a bit, didn't it, last sort of 10-15 minutes?
Just before the penalty, they went in on the left, didn't they?
Yeah.
They got in, and then the penalty on the right side, they just started to get a little bit of joy down the wings. But I thought Arsenal played the perfect game. And if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be proud. As a neutral, we're getting upset, aren't we? Because the final was not the greatest game to watch. But how many finals have we watched over the Champions League finals over the God knows how many years? And interesting, the last time the Champions League final went to penalty was my final in 2016.
Yep.
They're not great to watch. Nobody wants to lose.
No.
I mean, look, Arteta's game plan worked, because if you lose on penalty, if you go into a game with damage limitation in mind, play pragmatically, and you get the defending champions to penalties, you've had a good night, because shootout can go either way, as we know. So I think that's a fair point. But equally, I came away thinking, so what do Arsenal do now? Right, they've won the Premier League. We've talked a lot about that. But now they've got to make the next step.
This is a really interesting point in their time, isn't it? Because Arteta, we talked about this last week.
Yeah.
About signing a new contract.
Yeah.
And that hasn't happened now, has it?
No.
Is that did you raise that this week?
Yeah, I wrote about it.
Yeah.
Saying that, I mean, at the end of the day,
Because I thought that was a good piece.
Arsenal had 25% possession in the champion in a final. 75-25 are the type of figures you see when Man City are playing Burnley in the Premier League. Now, can you really win a Champions League on the back of those numbers? And if you want to become a dominant force in Europe, have you not got to maybe try and address that balance a little bit? And that's why I think it would be really interesting to see what Arsenal do now.
But they've got a financial pressure, haven't they? You know, they have to sell some homegrown players to balance the books a bit. They spent a lot last year, actually, when you add it up. And because he hasn't signed the contract, is there anything you can read into that?
No, I don't think so. I'd be amazed if Arteta wasn't the Arsenal manager for the foreseeable future, because he's got an incredible platform now. Winning the Premier League gives him power.
Yeah,
obviously. He's got a squad that's quite young and deep. You know, real depth to it. He was able to change his forward line completely in the second half. Took them all off and brought 3 very, very good players on in their stead. You know, he was able to throw Martinelli on and Eze on and Gyökeres on.
And Madueke.
But some of them made a difference, but I thought Djokovic made absolute zero difference when he came on. I was disappointed in his contribution to that team.
Yeah, it was
because he couldn't hold it up, could he?
No, it's difficult to come on I think in those circumstances. But they've got to. Arteta has to make that decision now. Is he going to continue to play this way, or is he going to try and use it as a platform for something a bit different?
He said that, wasn't it? He has important decisions to make. What are those important decisions, do you think?
Well, he's got to strengthen the areas that they're weak on. I think they've got a wonderful talent on the wings, haven't they? They've got Eze, Saka. You've got Rice down the middle. Even you've got Martinelli, who came off the bench.
Yeah, Trossard.
Trossard's done okay for him.
I like him.
Could Trossard be a regular starter if you want to go to that next level? Possibly not. Is Djokovic the answer to reaching that next level? Possibly not. But
I think it's more about the principles of play than the players. I don't think, if you look at a squad that's got some of those players you've just mentioned, plus Declan Rice in it, a dependable back four, you've got the players that you need to play a different way. If you've got Odegaard and Saka and Martinelli and Eze and Madueke and all those, and Havertz, the ones we've talked about, you've got the materials to play differently. It depends whether he chooses to do it.
It's interesting though, isn't it, when you look at who's on the way out? So Norgard, Nwaneri's homegrown talent, isn't he? Jacob Kivior, who else? There's Tony Livramento's talking about coming in. How would you feel about that, Mark?
That'd be interesting for him.
Yeah.
Because Lewis Hall's another one that's on the verge of leaving Newcastle. So would that be both fullbacks, or because Tino was linked with Manchester City, wasn't he?
He was,
earlier. I'm not sure.
Isn't that a great camp? He's been injured a bit, isn't he?
Because Timber is as good as you'll get. Yeah, he's been injured. Yeah, Ben White, is he a good number 2 to replace him? Possibly. I'm not sure Tino would want to sit on the bench. The only thing with Tino is you can switch him to the left, which gives him a little bit more options. But I think Arsenal are okay defensively.
What do you make of this change in tack a little bit, of this general feeling that the rest of the country wanted Arsenal to lose? There's a lot of that.
Without a shadow of a doubt, that I felt like that's become quite a new thing. I think I mentioned it last week, but a lot of the Man United fans in the office in Salford would rather City winning the league than Arsenal, which blows my mind as a Scottish football fan. Yeah, but there's definitely, I don't know if Arteta's done that deliberately as part of his campaign, to create a culture at the club, the Millwall philosophy, no one likes us, we don't care. Yeah. Hunker down, create that mentality. But I don't know, it hasn't, some of the memes for the missed penalties, for instance, have been brutal, haven't they? And the penalties are worth a mention. I'm totally with Stevie Gerrard on this. Penalties are complicated enough, really. Don't overcomplicate them.
I really do agree with that, because I
massively agree.
I think there are two. I think there are two penalties that can't be saved.
Yeah,
I think, and they are the ones that go high left and high right. The
Michael
way Shearer used to take them like that, Ruud van Nistelrooy used to take them like that. Yeah, and that's not that hard a skill.
Martinelli's did it, didn't he? Martinelli was top corner,
because you put them there at pace. The goalkeeper literally can't
reach it.
Cannot reach it. Yeah. And all the other stuff that players do, and you're obviously talking about the Eze one. Yeah. All the stuttering run up and all the rest of it. Ivan Toney's no look penalty and things like that. Yeah, people might say, "Oh, well, that's how they do it." Why? Because that introduces risk.
It does. Yeah.
It introduces risk.
More risk.
You've got to get that. What Eze did, you've got to get it. You've got to get quite a few things in that jigsaw in the right place for it to come off. And when it doesn't, of course, you look like a mug.
It's tricky footwork, isn't it? Like, why would you overcomplicate?
Exactly.
Simple. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. And I don't understand when a club is so heavily coached to the finest detail on set pieces that there isn't a conversation to say, don't do that.
But he did say, didn't he, Mickey Arteta afterwards, saying that Eze had never missed a penalty in training when they were practicing penalties. Yeah. Just the occasions, sometimes the pressure gets to it, doesn't it? But it's interesting, even before the penalty shootout, Arsenal were against it. If you notice, both coin tosses went against them.
Yeah, they lost 2-0,
massive.
didn't they?
And I'm always saying, first penalty is massive.
Yeah.
If you take that first penalty, you've got the advantage.
Yeah.
Because you can't afford to miss, can you?
I saw another thing on social media. It was a compilation of all Eze's career penalties, of which there were only about 10. And he'd taken every single one the same way. And he didn't miss. He had a couple saves. That was the first one where he's actually missed the target. I mean, when you miss a target as a penalty taker, especially when you're in the stadium, that's one of those, oh my God, has he really just done that moment? Yeah. But you just want, if it's your team, you just want it to be Harry Kane or someone, don't you? Because the way they take penalties is such conviction.
It gives the crowd confidence, doesn't it?
He'll score this.
As he walks up, although Kane missed one the other day, didn't he? His foot slipped. You see that?
Oh, what, for Bayern?
Yeah, his foot slipped as he planted the standing foot. And he moved about 2 inches maybe, but it kind of played the ball off his own heel.
He missed a big one at the last World Cup, didn't he?
Do you think there could be it's only open for discussion, because most of the penalty takers that would have took these penalties at the end of the game, because it's Champions League, end of the season, the fatigue and everything else, a lot of the players were off. Is it not something that can be looked at in the future, because you want the best players to take the penalties? You know what I mean?
So many of the players were off.
Why do we not? Why do they not? I know it's got to be at the moment the way the laws are that it's the players that finish the game. Why not look at it if they've started the game as well, that they have the choice of the penalties?
That's a really good point. Now,
at the end of the day, Arsenal were really at a disadvantage because they've had to change tactically the game and take off possibly 2 or 3 penalty takers that would have took them.
Good stat, by the way. Gabriel's shirt sales increased by 350% after he missed that crucial penalty. Mad, isn't it?
Most have been bought by people
Spurs
making
fans.
effigies of him.
But I love the videos within 5 minutes on my phone.
Yeah. Have you seen the
ball
one?
landed.
Yeah.
Have you seen the cha-cha slide one?
No.
Yeah.
Slide to the left, slide to the right.
Tell you
yeah.
what,
But just a quick one on that. People criticise referees a lot, don't they?
Yeah.
And I just wanted to raise this quick issue that, and I'm not a big lover of Daniel Steebert. I've watched him many times. I always thought, wow, getting a Champions League final.
Yeah.
He's not in the line for the World Cup, which after this performance is staggering.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was outstanding.
Yeah, I thought he was good.
Yeah.
And when somebody said to me and got upset, why were Arsenal not allowed to take that
Oh, I
corner
love
kick?
that.
I absolutely, not because I don't mind Arsenal and I loved refereeing Arsenal. This was not an Arsenal issue. This was a football team absorbing time, knowing that the last kick of the game or the last throw in, Declan Rice threw, the long throw in, he thought maybe there's another 10 seconds. There's no way they can go up the other end and score. So he delayed it, and they won the corner off it. And I thought the referee was terrific to go, you know what, you're not getting the corner.
Yeah.
And that was football understanding. I've criticised referees for not understanding football. That was perfect. And the way he handled the non-penalty to Arsenal. Anybody that loves football, it's not open for discussion. What he should have done, in my opinion, this is an argument that I've said for a while, when you've got a contentious decision like this, and it's 50-50 either way who's fouled who, you have to make a decision. And if you'd made the decision that it's a defensive free kick, it wouldn't have opened the big discussion it was. It's because he's left it open for people to discuss. If I'd gone free kick because he's put his arm under him, then you wouldn't have discussed the penalty kick because it's a foul.
Yeah. Yeah, it removes it, doesn't it, completely?
But because he left it open, it opened him up for a discussion. And there's a lot of people saying, Arsenal should have had a penalty. If you know football well and you know what that attacker's trying to do, he's put his arm under him to pull him down, and there's the contact.
Isn't it interesting, though, after a season like this season where the referee hasn't been the topic of discussion, really?
No.
Which I think is a sign of a great performance.
Yeah, I was
terrific.
I can only repeat what Mark says.
Yep.
I thought he had a really good game. He was in control of it.
Yep.
And you're right. The people got jumping up and down about not letting him take the corner. There's nothing in the rules about that.
No, it's not. But I loved it.
Do you think Arsenal will be back in the Champions League final next season?
No.
Mark?
I'll tell you why it's going to be no. Because La Liga's lifted the what they can spend, and now you'll see Barcelona and Real Madrid spending a lot of money and become stronger again. Might take me a little while, but I think Barca and Real Madrid will be stronger. Atletico will be stronger because they're allowed to spend more now.
Fair play, especially with Anthony Gordon there.
Sorry,
Sorry,
I have to say.
So I should have done it in Spanish for you.
Yeah.
That was actually really impressive.
Really impressive.
Really impressive.
Yeah. Like when I see people talking about, Anthony Gordon's done his press conference in Spanish, you kind of think, well, he'll just be kind of, a couple of pre-prepared lines. Then you see it.
No, it's proper.
You're like, wow.
And he'd been working on that and training with
Said he wanted to play for Barcelona since he was 3.
Yeah, amazing. And he used a
That's
particular...
impressive, by the way.
Yeah. Our producer on this podcast speaks really good Spanish, and there was a particular term of grammatical expertise that he applied, which made it even better. So it wasn't just sort of a translation app. It was really good.
But that's good for him. Okay, he said he thought he was going to move to Barcelona when he was 3. Smell
Don't
around.
believe that.
That's bullshit. No, you're still playing with these fucking Lego then. But
Barcelona Lego.
yeah, but at the end of the day, the way he conducted himself, I'm not a big lover how he's gone about his business as a football fan, as a Newcastle fan. I'm not sure he made it himself really engaging with the fans after what he did before the Liverpool Carabao Cup final when he got sent off needlessly. Again, when he got sent off playing for Newcastle against Liverpool. All of this left a sour taste in the Geordies' mouths. So him leaving isn't a bad thing, but the way he handled himself in that press conference, how he's learned the Spanish, and he can really engage in that city and that culture and that country brilliantly well.
He should really have done Catalan if he was going to really impress them, shouldn't he?
What's that?
I know when you were 4 years old what you were thinking, because when you walked in today, I thought he's come with Michael Jackson's trainers on, with the top half looking like an audition for Wham.
What I was thinking was, whatever I ticked off in my book, what I've wore for each podcast. This is all I've got left.
So,
I bet you have got a ledger as well, haven't you?
I bet he has got a ledger. Just before we hear any more of Ian and Mark's takes, we're in partnership with Wix Trade Pro and tradespeople. Well, this one's for you.
That's right, because being a Wix Trade Pro member saves you money.
You can save 10% every time you shop in-store or online. No minimum spend, no hassle, just savings.
Unbelievable scenes.
And Wix don't just want to save you money, they want to save you time as well.
Picture it, you're halfway through a job and suddenly realise you've forgotten that you need an impact driver. But the job's almost finished. Normally that would be game over. But with Wix Rapid Delivery, what you need can be with you within 3 hours.
Blimey, that's what I call a last-minute winner.
Exactly. Get what you need from Wix Rapid Delivery within 3 hours. To sign up and start saving, just download the Wix Trade Pro app. You can do that today. Terms and conditions and charges and exclusions apply. Right, a big moment in football again, domestically, with Arne Slot leaving as Liverpool manager. Before we talk about that, the Kenny Dalglish story, we wish him the very best.
And John Barnes.
Yeah. Yes. Been a bit of a shocker of a week with that. And Kevin Keegan as well, of course.
Yeah. So Kev was on. Kevin did has cancer, as we know, and he did a stage show in Newcastle on Sunday. And he said a few things on stage which tells us that he's up against it.
Yep,
stage 4 cancer. So we can only wish Kevin well, can't we, with that one? And Kenny and John Barnes on the same day.
Yeah.
Kenny trying to make light of it by pretending that, well, not pretending that, but admitting that he posted it on his social media account
by accident,
by mistake. Bless him. Look, what can you say? We don't know the details, do we? So we just have our fingers crossed. Because
absolutely,
best
wishes to them. Yeah,
all three,
great men. But the Arne Slot situation, it's funny. I've been thinking about this a lot because when you see the list of bad luck he's had as Liverpool manager, it kind of passed me by a little bit. But let me just run you through it, right? So if you look at the difficulties he had to face, I mean, Diogo Jota, first of all, I mean, I still think that was a huge part of Liverpool's demise this season. I mean, I'm amazed that, some of the players even managed to take to the pitch after that. But then if you look at the injuries as well, Isak's broken leg, that was 4 months he was out. Giovanni Leone, Connor Bradley, they were season-ending knee injuries, particularly Connor Bradley for me, because I thought he was really just coming into a game. I loved watching him. Hugo Ekitike, that was a ruptured Achilles, bad luck again. Alisson was out a lot, wasn't he? Who's
two separate times, I think.
An unbelievable talisman for them. Frimpong, Endo, significant spells on the sidelines. And then if you look at the players whose form dipped, that's the bit that's interesting for me, because did their form dip as a result of management or did their form dip for other reasons? I still think Jota played a part in that. But if you look at the players who weren't at their best, Salah, huge contract, Van Dijk really looked exasperated for most of the season. Gakpo, McAllister, Konate's now away, isn't he? So, all the key things went wrong. And we all at the beginning of the season thought Liverpool would run away with it. And Florian Wirtz, who I thought would be signing of the season, he's just not made a mark.
I think we expected them to build on a champion team with some more top class players.
Yeah.
And neither side of that equation ended up being playing out, because the players that were there from last season, some of the ones you just mentioned, the form has dipped, and the new ones have either been injured or not. Kirkes, the other one you haven't mentioned, the left back, has taken a long time to settle.
Robbo ended up back in, didn't he?
Yeah. So they thought they were building on something, and they're almost at a point now where they've got to start building again.
Yeah.
I think you're right in terms of the mitigating circumstances. Diaz to Bayern Munich, Darwin Núñez left, and obviously Jota, we know what happened there, and Salah became invisible.
Yep.
So they lost the whole forward line, and they lost Trent as well. And the one real shining light signing was Ekitike. Mm-hmm. That injury looked terrible. I worry about what he'll be like when he comes back.
Yeah.
But the job of a manager is to get the best from what you've got. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And did Arne Slot over the course of the season maximise the potential of what he was left with? And were the signs that it was going to get better?
Yeah.
And the answer to all those questions is no.
I liked what he said when he left. I thought there was a degree of class and composure and candour. Just share some of that, because I think it was great. He said, change is part of football, but I know that this club will continue to make its people proud. When I first stood beneath the sign in the Anfield tunnel, I knew what this club demanded. I leave knowing we never stopped striving for it. And on Diogo Jota, and one of the most difficult moments this club has faced, the love, compassion and support shown by the Liverpool family was extraordinary. That was a really good thing for him to address, I think. And he said, as I leave this club, it would be remiss of me not to say that the way you honoured Diogo and stood together in his memory will stay with me forever. You made me feel welcome from the start and helped me on the path. That's something I cherish. Of course, it's important to say thank you. I leave knowing the club is exactly where it belongs amongst Europe's elite. Securing Champions League football was an important responsibility and one that ensures Liverpool can continue competing at the highest level. Next season and beyond, I leave with complete confidence in what lies ahead. Mark. Good way for him to leave.
But that statement says it all, doesn't it? How classy he's in it. But I don't know if maybe I'm in the minority or whatever, but I'm quite disappointed the way they've handled the sacking me.
Mm-hmm.
I think Arne Slot deserves better. I think if they were going to dismiss him at the end of the season, then they should have done it with a few games left and said, look, you're leaving at the end of the season. So he could have said goodbye at the last day of the season, which he, for me, is a manager who's won the Premier League for the club. For me, and it would be the same with Eddie Howe at Newcastle, that they should be respected in a correct way. And like Salah's done last game, other players have done. You're leaving because Arne Slot didn't just bring... people will argue saying it was Klopp's team that he inherited, but he still won the Premier League.
Against Pep Guardiola.
He still won the
Arteta.
Premier League. So there was something about it. At the start, whatever he did seemed to work.
Conclusion, was it?
Yeah. And whatever you have said, the mitigating circumstances certainly have, not helped performances this season. And everybody, including myself, said at the start of the season that once they signed Isak from Newcastle, that was it. That was the enhancement that Liverpool needed. With Salah on one side. Yeah, they lost Diaz, which for me, Diaz was a big player. They've tried to fill it, but never really succeeded. And McAllister hasn't really hit the heights what he has in the past. And I just think they've dropped off, which is what's impacted. But for me, the way Slot's handled themselves, I just felt, knowing that, were they going to keep him, or because Areola was available?
Going back to what you said, you couldn't sack him with 5 games to go. Just so.
No, I wouldn't say in sacking him, but there was ways where you could have said, "Look, Arne Slot could have said Arne Slot, look, privately, look, you're not staying. You're going to leave at the end of the season. We want to do this the correct way because Liverpool are a classy club. Look at the way they've dealt with the Jota situation. They are a classy club, and for me, the classy way would have been doing it. Look, Slot, you're leaving at the end of the season." We're going to make an announcement. Yeah. So for me, that's the way it should be. Yeah. But not 2 weeks after the season or a week after the season. Now he hasn't had the chance.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question about this?
It's just me.
There's something that would bother me about it if I was Arne Slot, right? So he's on his summer holidays, playing golf in Portugal, whatever he is. It's like splitting up from a girlfriend, right? And she ends it, and there's a suspicion of crossover. Right, because the timing for me with the Areola thing looks bad. I don't know if you noticed that, but there's clearly been a conversation at the timing of Areola leaving and being there's crossover. Is all I would say.
I think there's a few crossovers, isn't there? There's not just Areola. I think there was 2 or 3 good coaches have come available.
Yep,
and all of a sudden, AC Milan want a coach. AC Milan come knocking on the door. Coaches,
but you have to do what's best for your business.
Yep.
Don't you have to do what's best for your business?
You do,
and you could argue that
the crowd had turned.
The crowd had turned, but also by sacking a manager and not having made some inquiries about who you may be able to replace them with, that you could argue that isn't a very good way to run your business. You could, what I mean?
Yeah,
I know you're talking about honour and doing the right thing, and
we just talked about a classy club.
But at the end of the day,
and that feeds into Mark's sort of thesis that let him have his goodbye in the last day of the season. If you know that you've got your man lined up.
The risk is, Ian, for me, you give Arne Slot next season and it doesn't start very well. The way that crowd was at the end of the season, they don't start well, he's finished. And a coach hasn't had, I'm not saying a pre-season because we're not going to say a pre-season this year because of the World Cup. We're going to say a half a pre-season. But at least give a coach a half a pre-season and to sign the players that they might want to sign. But for me, Liverpool's biggest downfall last season, in my opinion, was not signing Mark Ahey.
Yeah.
Once he was on that bed,
Yeah.
They've signed all them strikers. And yes, Ekitike, that signed Ekitike before Isak, people could argue, was Isak the right time? Hindsight's a great thing because he was injured.
Ekitike
but Mark
started well.
Gahey,
Yeah, Mark Gahey was the one, yeah.
Is the one.
You need some pace in the team.
That's
for sure.
I was going to ask you to sort of take your conversation from last week on a little bit further, because Ian, you kind of made the point, hadn't you, last week, that Salah fired the bullet, didn't he? He ended it, and I wonder how that dynamic will play out, because it happened with Postecoglou about 5 months after he left Spurs. He finally sort of piled in. Do you think there's a chance Slot will turn the guns on Salah now he's left?
Slot strikes me as the type of person who wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Not because he wouldn't want to, but because he would see the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything that he says now, he refers to that statement that he gave to Liverpool Echo there, everything he says now will be framed in the context of what job he gets next.
Mm-hmm.
And he will not want to present himself as someone who's bitter, blaming other people. So I would imagine, knowing what I know from dealing with him and knowing people in Holland who know him well, I would imagine he will just put it behind him. Salah will say his piece.
Yeah.
Again, he will say his piece. We know he'll say his piece, and Slot is just going to have to wear that, I'm afraid.
I tell you what, looking at the statistics for his season, if you're a Liverpool fan, you might say, well, they won 12 of the next 33 games after winning 5 straight games at the beginning of the season. That's not good enough, is it?
No.
53 goals is the worst record across a season. 63 goals scored, lowest for a decade. That's not great, is it? With the attacking firepower they had.
And he talks about leaving the club in the where it belongs in the Champions League. I mean, they don't deserve to be in the Champions League.
Yeah.
They don't deserve to be in the Champions League. The other way of looking at it is that they finished 6 points ahead of Sunderland or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And what was the turnaround with Manchester United from last season? 55 points or something, Yeah. And we're talking about a Man United team that's improved, not talking about a
season full.
Not talking about an all-conquering Man United team.
Yeah. Talking about Manchester United then, what do you think happens with Marcus Rashford now? Because there's an interesting signing, Anthony Gordon, and Mark, just before you answer that, Ian, the deal's meant to be quite spectacular for Newcastle, isn't it?
I think Ross Wilson's first job has been what's been reported is quite spectacular. I think.
Is this a Craig Pope exclusive?
Yeah, well, probably Craig's all over it, and I'm sure he will be. But the thing with Gordon is, I think Newcastle didn't want to make the same mistake as they did with Isak. That's one where they were caught in a rock and a hard place where there was only one decision that was going to do. I'm not sure Gordon would have done the same, because I think even though Gordon's got some dislikes within the crowd, there's still the way Gordon's handled himself he'll still have a little bit of support. With Gordon's deal, that was a huge transfer fee for a player who, he done okay in the Champions League, but in the Premier League, he hasn't really hit them heights. I don't care what people say. Gordon's end product isn't great. His build-up plays okay, but his end product's never been great. But in Champions League, when he's got more time and more space, he's devastating. When teams play that low block, Gordon's not the same type of player. He might have more space in Barcelona. He might be more... But the deal behind it, the sell-on, the clauses, if Barcelona do this, and this, is probably a great negotiation, because how can you negotiate against Barcelona, the biggest club in the world? You're just a smallish club in the world of football. But the deal itself was great for Newcastle United, and it allows the club to move forward.
What are some of the details then? It's about...
Well, there's a sell-on
clause.
There's a very good sell-on clause that's been reported.
And there's Champions League bonuses in there.
Champions League, and how many games he plays. I think, is it 65% games he plays? There's another clause.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of clauses in there that if he does well, Newcastle gain off the back of it.
You say it's a great deal for Newcastle. I know what you mean in terms of numbers. I don't know if selling your best players is ever a great... But
I wouldn't say... I wouldn't have...
I know where you're coming from.
He's not up there with Isak, where Isak was... he was loved. Gordon was liked, but he wasn't loved. And there's a difference for me when you come to that. I think Gordon was... There's players that can replace Gordon and nobody would really be hurt about it. And I think Newcastle now can need to rebuild their squad. And this gives them a chance to rebuild. If Hall and Livramento go as well, which is what's reported, because Hall's unhappy as well, they're going to have a rebuild. And I know Fabian Schär's just signed another 1-year deal, probably to be around the dressing room as well. But they've got a big rebuild.
Yeah. Tuchel likes Anthony Gordon, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
And also if Frank Lampard, as we discussed last week,
Yeah.
became England manager, he loved him at Everton. He brought him in, didn't he, really?
Yeah. I mean, it's this is a platform now for Gordon, isn't it? To show everyone that he's as good as he thinks and says he is. It'll be really interesting. They've bought him obviously for the profile. We've talked before about him being a kind of direct runner, straight line runner type of winger, and that it does kind of throw the whole Marcus Rashford thing up in the air, doesn't it? In terms of whether there's a place for him and whether he'll end up back at Manchester United.
Do you wonder about that? Do you think could you ever see him playing in a United strip again?
No.
Can you, Mark?
No.
Only because
I can. I've got a feeling I can.
How? Why?
I think Carrick might just see that as it would be a masterstroke for him to bring back Rashford and get the best out of him in a team that's performing better. And he is a homegrown talent, and I think the fans would accept him, give him a second chance.
I think there's a lot of bad blood between Rashford's camp and Manchester United
As a club, right?
as a club.
Yeah.
Well, I know there is.
Yeah.
And I also know that United have got a huge issue with Rashford's wages.
They're massive,
Which
aren't
is 325 a week, I think. And I'm not
I
sure.
wouldn't take a pay cut.
I'm not sure that they can afford to take take that back onto their wage bill. I would imagine it will be another loan for Marcus.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's Barcelona again or somebody else, but that my guess would be it would be another loan. I don't think he will play for United again, unless Carrick brings an awful lot of influence to bear on the United board.
I like to make just things like wild accusations as well. I think Barca bought Gordon because of Bayern's interest to stop because of Bayern are a big going to fight Barcelona. Let's say Bayern Munich try and take Rashford on loan. There's a little wild one for you.
Alongside Harry Kane.
Good shout.
Interesting.
I'm just saying because I think Bayern, he would suit Bayern when you've got the Palace boy on
Belize.
Yeah, so I think that would give them a little bit more balance.
Interesting. Well, you're pretty good on the tips. There was a wee suggestion about Southampton the other week that you may have.
Who was that the source?
Yeah.
Are you trying to reveal?
I think it's fair enough now, isn't it? But I did want to finish by talking about Southampton because I think that's probably the story of the season for me. And it brings into a question, a massive principle in the world about second chances, because the owners of Southampton have been really clear and unequivocal that they will not sack the manager Eckart over the Spygate scandal. So, my question to you is, will that win the fans back over, or is that club divided? And also, how on earth do you rebuild trust after an episode like that?
You and I both know that football results will cover a whole manner
of multitude of sins.
A multitude of sins, exactly. Yeah. And a multitude of feelings and emotions. Yeah. And Southampton have made a pragmatic decision to keep the manager because they rate him, because he's done a good job on the field.
Not just a good job, an incredible job.
And if they let him go and someone else snaps him up and he takes them up into the Premier League. So again, going back to what we talked about Liverpool looking after business, they're looking after business, and the punters will 100% get over it if they win the first 5 games of next season. What's been more interesting is whether there's a bitterness in the dressing room from the players to the manager, i.e. we did what you wanted and then we turned out that you'd been cheating and it's because of you we're still here in the Championship. That could be an interesting dynamic.
What do you reckon? If you're a player?
Players and the staff. The staff going into the training ground in the stadium knowing that you could have been a Premier League club.
Yeah.
Because Southampton would have been favourites for the playoff final.
And there will be time-served Southampton staff there who are part of the club that will be feeling like fans. That must be a resentment inside, yeah?
Absolutely.
But you've got to give him a second chance. People will argue and say, he's cheated. He wanted to know if Hackney, the Middlesbrough midfielder, the star player, was in the starting 11, so he could change and tweak things. He could have done that an hour and a half before.
Yeah.
He could have. He just got caught. And I think he's got to move on, and I agree with Ian, everything's a result-driven sport. The way he's finished that season, and if Southampton probably might have a financial issue going forward, if they can solve the financial issue going forward, because they haven't made it to the Premier League, and he can keep his star players, then why wouldn't you not see Southampton back there, if not challenging for the top 2 spots to go up next season?
See, I think they're in a really dangerous position. And the reason I say that is because I interviewed a lot of really good Southampton fans who are involved in podcasts around the story. And I think living out of integrity in such a fashion has really lost the fans. And I think there was only really one decision to make, and I think they had to sack him. The problem is, if you do that and you knew about it, then how far does that thread pull?
So can I put a little take on that, right? So say a player goes down in the penalty area to win a penalty in the last minute, dives, and he wins the penalty and the score, and they go into the Premier League. Are you going to sack that player?
No, because that's something that everyone in every football, 90% of footballers that we ever watch do. They're just doing something that everybody does.
But it's still a form of cheating.
Something else.
It's still a form of cheating.
You're right. Yeah,
I know what we're saying.
It's like Thierry Henry's handball against Ireland, right?
Yeah, let's not. Yeah, that's another one. But what I'm saying is, he's admitted what he's done. Yes, it's an offence. It's not, world headlines that what he's done. It's wrong. He's accepted it's wrong. They've been punished correctly, in my opinion. They were kicked out of the playoffs. Yeah. They've got a 4-point deduction next season. For me, it's a time to draw the line. And one of the good things that's come out of it, because the punishment is so high, clubs now will not do it. And he'll not do it. He's probably learned a culture. He came into England, and this is one of the things when I was working for Nottingham Forest. When you work for people and owners that are from a different country, they think differently to what we accept and respect in England. We draw a line. And they're, like, I think the owner of Southampton, Serbian, they've got different mentalities. So they think that could be normal. We just don't accept it. And what I believe now is the club have realised that that cannot be done. And now everybody knows it. And I think we can draw a line on it. And I think now the time is he can now push on, and he's got to use it as an advantage. And if Southampton start well, it'll be forgotten about.
Do you think?
Yeah, it'll be
I don't think it'll be forgotten
about. What I didn't like was from reading the report and the written reasons and all kinds of things that I've been looking at, I don't like the way that this kid was put under pressure to do. This young lad was put under pressure to go and do
that's ugly.
The dirty work for them. That's not good at all. That says a lot about the culture of the club, and that's disturbing.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it's a severe punishment, fair enough, but I think, again, the issue for me here is I think there's some, again, going back to that horrible term, corporate responsibility and corporate governance, because I think you pull the thread, it goes all the way to the top. Yeah. And as you say, the rules are the rules, and they're not rules, are they? They're laws. Are they not laws, Mark? You always pick me up on this.
Different laws, rules.
Some are rules, some are laws.
But you don't know where this level comes from. The owner's Serbian, and all the way down, there's people. Yeah. Club's not just run by a head coach, is it? Yeah. So for me, the line's been drawn. Southampton have been correctly punished. Hull have got promoted. Yep. Now it's Southampton draw a line under it. They've been 4-point deduction and a fine. Now it's finished.
One thing is absolutely clear, though. There's a huge job to do to re-establish trust with the fans at that club, and it's going to take a long, long time to fix it.
But results will do it.
Do you think?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
Because football fans...
Gordon Strachan always said that, didn't he?
Football fans, especially at that level, are desperate to get into the Premier League.
Yeah.
Results will fix it.
Just before he came in, them fans never dreamed that they would have a semi-final at Wembley against Manchester City and go into the playoffs at that point, did they?
No.
So true. I think the fans will start dreaming again. Like Ian says, if they start well, they'll start dreaming
That's
again.
the bit I don't understand about it. Is you were doing well as a manager. Just concentrate what's happening on the pitch. I don't see the marginal gain. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I
the
don't
risk
either.
doesn't
I must
match
admit,
the reward.
I don't, and that's why when it first started, I was thinking, is this a fuss about nothing? And then you start to read the details and the laws. You think, well, no, it's not. But again, it is essentially, what do you get? What do you gain from it?
I also think there was a missed opportunity with Bielsa. A £200,000 fine is almost a joke in terms of the financial sort of scale of the situation. That wasn't enough of a punishment to deter somebody else doing it again. That was a missed opportunity for me.
Because there was no regulation in place.
Yeah.
Well, regulation. But
exactly, yeah.
So because the Football League didn't have a regulation at that time, the punishment could not be any more than a financial. Yeah. What they did very immediately after the Bielsa situation was to put that regulation in place to protect the integrity of the league.
Yeah.
And that's what now has happened. Yeah. Southampton have paid the penalty. For me, it's like anything in life. You pay the penalty, you've done the crime, now let's move on.
Yeah, and I love Bielsa and Leeds as well. Right, gentlemen, Nice little bit of time spent together there. Ian, you look like a tired man after your travels this week. It's finally cut you end of season. You're ready for your 4 weeks with Sam Allardyce in the Costa del Sol, aren't you?
4 weeks.
No, what is it?
4 weeks of Clattenburg.
Are you going to play Clattenburg?
That story went everywhere, didn't it?
It's incredible.
Great stuff. Yeah, we're off to play Connect 4 together for the next hour. Thanks for listening. Please get in touch with us with a question for Mark or Ian, whistleblowers@dailymail.com, and remember, get in touch with us on all of our social accounts. We would love to hear from you, particularly about the World Cup, because we are about to get heavily involved in that. Just a note for your diary as well, we will be doing our World Cup preview show on Monday, so please get involved in that. We'll be covering all the teams in as much detail as we possibly can, with a wonderful bit of refereeing insight from Mr. Clattenburg. So, Mark, before we get into that madness, would you blow the full-time whistle, please? Thank you very much for watching Whistleblowers. Remember, there are new episodes every Thursday and Tuesday, so don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for even more content. And follow us wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode.